for more on the economic impact of this potential scuffle, we turn now to Maura Barrett. Again, the 10% tariffs on imports from 8 NATO allies all over this refusal to cede Greenland, essentially. It could have larger implications on American consumers. Maura Barrett, our business and tech correspondent, joins me now. So, Maura, we know that these tariffs ultimately function like a tax on imported goods. How will these additional tariffs potentially impact Americans?
Well, Andrew, as we've seen over the last year, ultimately tariffs can cause a lot of foreign policy tension, issues with trade partners, and as we've seen as well, pass on a lot of those costs to American consumers. We actually just got new numbers, a new study out today from a German think tank, the Kiel Institute, that straight up quoted the 2025 U.S. tariffs are a, quote, own goal. Ultimately, American importers and consumers bear almost the entire cost. They found that looking at shipping valuations of up to $4 trillion, that American consumers were being passed on about 96% of that cost. Foreign producers only taking on 4% of that cost, and that's just from the tariffs that have been in place and were analyzed through the 2025 year. And so going into additional tariffs being placed come February, as Haley laid out, potentially being increased come June, could just add to that. We have seen also numbers citing the fact that the tariffs have increased U.S. consumer prices about 5 to 6.6% and contributed a lot to those inflation metrics that we've been tracking. We heard repeatedly that tariffs were cited by Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell in their decision to hold on cutting rates for a few meetings in 2025, citing tariffs specifically as inflationary. And when you take into consideration the 8 countries that are going to be facing these 8 allies that are going to be facing these tariffs, in consideration of what kind of products the U.S. gets. Just for context, Denmark, we rely on for some pharmaceutical products as well as industrial equipment and healthcare and tech devices. Norway, similarly, industrial supplies that go towards oil production and petroleum products, along with the classic seafood like salmon that we all love. And then France, aircraft, aerospace parts, as well as those luxury goods like wine, fine cheese, etc. And so this just adds to the potential price hikes that Americans are going to see, whether it's passed on in the supply chain or directly at the store for Americans. I think it's also important to know, as we're discussing all of this, that we're waiting on a Supreme Court ruling any day now. We're expected to get some opinions tomorrow in which the tariff case could be released on whether President Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, in which he levied a bulk of those tariffs last year, and in which these Greenland retaliatory tariffs fall under as well, could be something that we see a ruling on as soon as tomorrow or in coming weeks from the Supreme Court, which would then impact how all of these are implemented, Andrew.
Yeah, that could upend so much of what we've been talking about for the past year since those so-called reciprocal tariffs went into effect. Scripps News business and tech correspondent Maura Barrett for us. Maura, thank you.